Okay, welcome everyone to our member benefit program. We have Bentley Systems here, and they're going to tell you a little bit about their program, and we'll go over some pertinent information. And we also have a presentation for you. So just a quick overview of the agenda so you know what to expect. We're going to do introductions on who all is presenting, and then the architect will go ahead and present, and we'll have a question and answer session at the end. So we partnered with Mark, and he is from Bentley Systems. And then we have Asushi on from Morphosis, and he will be giving us a presentation shortly. Okay, and if Mark wants to go ahead and take it over and introduce us to Bentley and what they're all about.
Great. Hello, my name is Mark Enos. I'm with Bentley Systems. My background was an architect before joining Bentley a whopping 20 years ago. So I've been working in our building products based out of Northern California. And if any questions, I'll be showing you a lot of information. Feel free to email me at mark.enos@bentley.com. So our member benefit program is pricing. It's open for new and existing users. So for new users, you get 25% off. There is a select cost involved, which is a maintenance. So you get 25% off. The list price is $55.01, so that brings it down to $41.26. And then if you buy two and you get one, but you do pay the select on all three for the maintenance. So that's for new or existing users for that whopping discount of over $5,000. So with that select maintenance, that includes 24/7 technical support. You get free software upgrades. All of our online training on demand is complimentary for all Bentley products. So if there's products we have you just want to play around with, you can go into the training. We also have complimentary instructor-led virtual classes for EcoSim, which is our BIM, that are AIA continuing education registered. That's only for the live classes. But all those quick starts are offered on demand. Part of Select, you also get a version of Lumen RT Designer, which I'll be showing in a few moments, that is embedded in EcoSim Building Designer. And then you also have benefits of our connected services with project collaboration, adaptive learning, and personal mobility, which you'll be seeing in a little bit. So those of you who might not know Bentley very well, we do have a corporate update, which I could send you a link to, that talks about our company. We're a privately held software company founded in 1984 with 3,500 employees. So if you want to be taking a look at our growth and our market segments, I'm sharing that information with you. We're located in Exton, Pennsylvania, our headquarters outside of Philadelphia. We have 40 international offices. I've just highlighted, might be hard to see, but our call centers around the world for support. We have 25 North American offices. But what's important is that we have 5 California offices plus 1. So we have Bentley offices in orange, and then we have Huntington Beach is our platinum reseller called Archway Systems, and they support our Bentley bashes throughout the year, and they also have training facilities in their office as well. So those of you who aren't familiar with Bentley, we're really big on infrastructure, obviously. Our 2 flagship products are ProjectWise and MicroStation. So in a lot of industries of buildings, roads, rail, power plants, water treatment plants, and our BIM products work in those in different types of buildings. So today we'll be looking at our premier product, which is EcoSim Building Designer. And if you would like to look at other projects done around the world, every year we put out a year in infrastructure book that I could send you a link to be looking at projects. It goes all the way back to 2004. So you could be looking at buildings that were done just with for architecture, or ones that were done with also with bridges or rail and things like that. So just a lot of great examples of big and small projects using our software. So EcoSim Building Designer is our BIM application. It is a life cycle solution from architecture, planning, design, to analysis, construction, and then owner-operators. So within the product itself, you get the architectural tools, structural, mechanical, electrical, and then we have space planning tools and tools that can be used for facilities that owners like to use. And within EcoSim Building Designer, you get MicroStation built in. So it's unique that we have a BIM and a CAD platform in the same package. You can be doing clash detection as you're modeling rather than going to another program or another file format. We have built-in rendering capabilities. We have computational design called Generative Components. And then we have conceptual modeling for system whole. So when you install the product, we have some companion products. One is called Descartes that does raster to vector and it does point clouds. That does require another license, but it will run inside of EcoSim. We have Generative Components, which is complementary with Select. That is an optional during install that you can install later. And then Lumen RT Pro, I'll be talking about that. That is an optional install, but as it works with other BIM solutions out there, but as a member of our Select, you get a light version of Lumen RT with limited libraries and capabilities, but it's just a great tool, which you'll be seeing. And then we also have 14 international data sets and the COBE extension. So that's if you're doing any overseas work. A lot of more countries now require BIM deliverables and they have their own standards, so we support all of those. So EcoSim Building Designer is scalable BIM. I'm showing you all these big projects, but it is scalable using on smaller projects, unique geometry.
Scalable to large projects such as an airport where you have multiple buildings. In this example, EcoSim is used for the terminal buildings, the garage, and other buildings, while there's open roads, open rail, and other Bentley products, and this is all in Lumen RT.
And then the way that we construct the models is through a federated approach. We typically break them up by floor and by discipline, and then we reference them similar to an extra together to be completing master models, to be creating our drawings, plans, sections, and elevations, and all of our reports and schedules. The actual program itself can be standalone, or it can run on a network environment with the cloud, the LAN, or the WAN, and you can be managing your own in-office configurations and standards, or if there's a client standard workspace that needs to be followed, you can be doing that as well. What else is unique about Bentley is that our file format, it is the .dgn, and it's only changed once in the last 30 years, and that was to work with DWG. So think of our file format that we write all our models and our data to as maybe a PDF. You're always able to access it. We changed the program and the workspace. That's why owners like it, because they can always retrieve their old data. So if we try to open up a file from 1992 that was in our old format, so we only have two, version 7 and version 8. If I try to open up an old file, it'll say, do you want to upgrade it to a new version, or do you want to keep it as version 7, but just open it read-only, or you can reference it into a new session and copy graphics through. So you're always able to access your old data. The DGN is also powerful when it comes to the 3D modeling environment. So we have powerful tools for surfaces, mesh, forms, solid modeling tools, and we have new 2D and 3D constraint modeling. When it comes to interoperability, that's a reason designers like using our tools, is the modeling capability, but we're also very interoperable with many other native file formats that we could be opening up, SketchUp, IFCs, we have a plugin for Revit. So here you're seeing that we could be bringing in these other BIM models, ArchiCAD, Revit, Allplan, either through IFC, we can bring in SketchUp and other file formats using iModels, and we also support COBE, as I mentioned before. So here in this little structure, you're seeing that there are some objects that were imported in, so we can bring in DWG blocks, MicroStation, basically CAD cells or blocks. We can bring in OBJ files, SketchUp, 3D Studio Max, RFA, which is Revit families, and we can be adding data to them as well.
And here we can take our container building into Lumen RT and put it along a beach with a swaying palm tree. And you're able to see all that content that went through our new labels in Lumen RT that we could be labeling parts of a model. You'll notice the animation and the flat screen up on the top of the deck. But to really enliven your BIM models with Lumen RT. We can also attach point clouds to a DGN so that we could be doing hybrid modeling with EcoSim Building Designer and keeping the existing conditions as point clouds, and we bring in multiple formats of point clouds into our design sessions. We also can support attaching photogrammetry from context capture of 3MX and 3MSM files, which is great for historic preservation. This is a cathedral in Philadelphia that's a mesh model is created from photographs, and we can also be working in this in a hybrid environment of new and existing. Or for landscape or urban design, you could be taking drones. This is Philadelphia for the Pope's visit several years ago, that a government agency approached Bentley and asked them to make a 3D mesh model of downtown Philadelphia so they could plan and work with how they wanted to be controlling the crowds around the procession route. So again, you're able to be bringing in a mesh model into EcoSim and be modeling barriers or stadium seating or emergency routes or things like that. Or you could be proposing new buildings with it as well. We also have the abilities to publish 2D and 3D PDFs directly in EcoSim Building Designer with the Adobe drivers. So a 3D PDF, if there's an animation in the file, you can capture that. You could be changing the display styles of the 3D PDF after it's published. You could be going in and turning off items in the model. And this is just a great tool if you don't have any BIM tools that you can navigate through. We could be jumping to saved views of the model. So this is something that's very portable. You could be emailing to your consultants and clients for them to be reviewing the 3D models.
And then when it comes to EcoSim, it is a new version. When you launch the program, we have a welcome screen that has videos and example files that I'll link it to, so you can be learning about the interface and the new tools. We also have the welcome page shows you where all the learning is, and then it also has all the news and announcements on the page as well. When you go into EcoSim, you are asked to sign in to be a connected user. So with this connected user, you're linked to a connection center that when you have the option when you go to print or plot, make 3D PDFs or iModels, or go to your personal share space that you can access anywhere and be able to put them even on your mobile devices. We have a quick start for Building Designer. This is just an example of another building that we deliver with the product. And we have these quick start classes for architecture, structural, mechanical, electrical. They're either recorded on demand or they're live. If they're live, they're typically, it's 2 hours a day, usually Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays on California time, 10 a.m. to noon. And it goes through modeling, drawings, and reports on that little building. So you get 2 learning units per day. So looking at the architectural model after 3 days of 2-hour sessions that you'd be going through, and then the structural model, the MEP models. And when we're working in these models, we can also be referencing each other's disciplines. And we have the ability to take the structural model and make it transparent. We can do clip volumes, and you'll see we have up to 8 different window views, so you could having different views in different windows. So if there are particular areas of interest you're working in, you can see it just that area, but then in context to the whole model. And then we can also change the display mode of what the outside of that model does with a light wireframe. Then within the product, we have something called Connected Visor, and this is new in our new version as well, is that once you're logged in as a connected user, you go in, you're presented all the upcoming events, calendars, you could be searching on any tool or information. So it'll link you to all of our Learn content that's out there, our Bentley communities. It'll take you to YouTube, events, and news and announcements. And what's really great, if you're going and looking at quick starts, you'll see the quick starts I mentioned before that are recorded. You just click on it and it will start playing a live session inside of EcoSim Building Designer without having to get out. And what's really great, this is a 2-hour class, but everything is broken up by exercise. So if you ever need to go back in and look at one little thing, you don't have to go back and watch a whole 2-hour video. It's all broken up in just a few minutes, and there's a project workbook as well. When it comes to the architectural tools, we have all the space planning tools, push and pull solid modeling tools, parametric building content of walls, slabs, roofs, doors, curtain walls, ramps, stairs, escalators, handrails, and much more. Furniture, fixture, and equipment, casework, and intelligent objects that can be brought in from manufacturer's content. And we also have grid tools. So on that manufacturer's content, a lot is out there on the web. This is seeing a website that you can download the seating, and they support many different file formats, so we can bring all of those in. So either 3D Studio Max, AutoCAD, SketchUp, or RFA, which is Revit. So with RFA, we're able to bring it in and we can map the intelligence to map to our standards. If it's something that's parametric, like a sunscreen that's parametric in Revit, it'll be parametric in our product as well. So we can consume those libraries. It doesn't matter which version of RFA content out there on the web it's bringing in.
We can also do intelligent mass modeling. So when we go to push and pull, the square footage of the areas of the buildings are automatically updated. So in this example, we have the top floor of a penthouse. We have an actual square footage and the program area that it's off by a couple thousand square feet. So in this just early massing study, I can go in and be manipulating the faces, the edge, or the vertices of a solid. And as I pull it back, down at the bottom right, the square footage is adjusting to be closer to the program area. So we're able to, as we change the mass, the square footage is automatically updating. And then within this, we can also go and do some further manipulation. We can go in and put an arc for the roof, and then use our solid modeling tools to be cutting and carving. And so that arc I've just placed, I'll take that top massing and subtract. And then in this same file, I have my plan sections and elevation of this massing, along with a schedule of the square footage of the different floors and areas. And it's automatically placing the columns in as well, but you'll see as I manipulate the model, the square footage of the different areas automatically update. And the drawings are linked back to the 3D model. So if I go to one of the callouts, it will take me from the drawing, the sheet, back into the 3D model. And we'll be looking at that later. That is hypermodeling, an option that you're able to go back and review your drawings automatically linked back into the model. So we could take this file, copy it, and make further modifications, so we could be looking at different design schemes. So very quickly, you could start off with one massing study, do a save as, and then just exploring different roofs or setbacks of the building or curved corners and all the square footage of the floor plates, are all managed and linked together, so you're not going back and forth between Excel and a massing program. So if you're looking at doing generative components, this is an example of computational design, of having a design scheme that you want to rapidly look at different alterations or iterations of a model. And that is with our generative components. So basically, rather than Bentley telling you how relationships are, you can be going in and be setting up your own relationships between the structure, the roof, and the curtain wall. So this is an example of going in and adjusting the bays of the structural system. We have sliders that you can be adjusting it. You can be grabbing it by points in the model, and you'll see how the roof and the structure are all linked together as I go in and make that change. It's all recorded in these scripts that you're able to be driving the BIM geometry. So when I go in and look, these are real intelligent BIM objects, the beams and the columns that you're driving geometry. You could also be driving walls and through multiple files.
Will update. We have integrated visualization. So even in early design schemes, you see that you can take your models and make them ambient occlusion, which makes all the materials go away. If you want to be showing a client, we don't know if it's what it's going to be. We just want it to be either transparent or soft. And then moving through design development, this is pretty much all rendering out of the box with no fancy rendering techniques. But then once you get more complete, you're bringing in more content. This is what you're able to achieve as far as the rendering that's built in and not having to go into another program. When it comes to visualization, we can also visualize data. So in our models, we can have it visualized based on what intelligence on the object, so the business data. So you could say, show me what the rated walls are color-coded in my model or my drawings. So you're able to quickly look at that. Or in this example, in our first floor retail, we have fixtures, and we can have it based on the intelligence of the objects, have it color code in the drawings and the model, what is movable and what is fixed. And then we can be doing a schedule from that. When it comes to our models creating drawings, we have something called hypermodeling. And basically what that does is it links the drawings back to the 3D model. It is optional. It does it on its own. You're able to take all the graphics in the 2D sheet, but it still links back to the 3D model. So you're able to really understand how the drawing is, expressing where it was cut in the model, or if you're deciding maybe it needs to move. But it's just a great way to be seeing how your drawings are derived from the model. A lot of times owners say they want the model and drawings, but there's no way to really see how they're tied together. So we can go from the sheets back into the model. We can also promote CAD to BIM. So you're seeing a 2D CAD. This is of a first floor retail of another building. They just have cells and blocks, but we can go through and grab the cells and blocks and attach data to it and put some spaces, 2D spaces in. And now you're seeing all the fixtures that are showing up in the schedule. And down at the bottom right, all we had is a closed polygon, which is we call a space that has spatial containment. So you can report on which fixtures are in which space. So it's quickly, you could be we have a lot of owner operators, large retail companies that are using BIM for their 2D interiors. They just care about sales square footage and fixtures, not about the exterior shell of the building. They care about the inside. So we can also be using this between multiple buildings. So we're in an empty file referencing, the upper right is that 2D building. The center one is a Revit model that we did a Revit model, brought it in and started putting our fixtures in, and the third is EcoSim. So from that, you're able to run reports, create drawings, make edits, changes in between multiple buildings. Again, another reason why owners like to use our software.
Just to explain the difference between Lumen RT Designer and Lumen RT Pro. I could send you a link to look at the differences of the amount of library and functionality between the two. Lumen RT Designer, again, is embedded in EcoSim Building Designer. Lumen RT Pro is an add-on separate product that works with Revit, SketchUp, ArchiCAD, and more. But it has the basic principles. And the Lumen RT Pro can create a executable live cube that you can give to consultants or clients without having any Bentley software. So it's just an added benefit. And then this is Lumen RT Pro, some of the capability of being able to paint the plants, set the season, and here we are adjusting the wind. So it's just an easy to use tool that's a lot of fun, bringing your BIM models into this enlivened environment. We could also do night scenes. And fully adjust the lighting. And you can change all the materials as well. It's linked back to the model. You'll remember if you changed it in Lumen RT. And here's building terrain sculpting. So you could be making mounds, you could be making holes in the ground, adjusting the water. There's also fish and birds that can be in this scene, as well as many objects of people, cars. And here you're giving custom animation paths. It can be people or cars as well. And the content library, again, in Designer, Lumen RT Designer is not as extensive. You get the full catalogs, and you could be bringing in objects into Lumen RT as well.
Okay, and now I think we're going to hand it over to Atsushi.
Okay. So I don't have the control. Okay, I got it. Okay, going back. So my name is Atsushi Sugiuchi, and I'm working for Morphosis as Advanced Design Technology Group. And so I'd like to start with a little bit of introduction for Morphosis office. So we have 3 offices, and we have an office in LA, and we are like 30 people working on it. And the New York office, we have 12 staff members, and then Shanghai, I think it's 2 members there. And then our project, those are the place, and it's all over the world. And these are the projects that we do, and all of the projects we are using EcoSim building designer. So, and these are the current projects that we are working on. Some are recently finished. This is a museum in Dallas, and some cladding towers. This is the facade recladding project and aluminum rain screen cladding, and on the stainless steel perforated panel screens. This is the Cologne Future Research Project. It's in South Korea, and the tower in Shenzhen. This is currently I'm working on the project in Costa Mesa, Orange County Museum of Art. So I would like to talk about the design workflow using Ecosim. So the driver, we are just rationalizing the geometry with these curves. I'm using a project in Singapore as an example. So there is 8 curves. So we just rationalize it in 2D, and we extrude it using the design surface. And this vertical line is the center line of the windows. And then we set up the data, which is the finish work plan levels. So intersecting with the driver file to get the work points. So using those work points, we are inserting cells. And what those cells does is those cells are having 2 components, which is the flat panel and it's the more 3-dimensional wavy panels. So we have BIM attributes on the names, panel types, materials, and material areas. We are mainly using those names and the panel types for this project. So there is 2 types. For our design update, we often use Excel to sync wave panel types here. There are 2 wave types. An orange one, which is going up to the left, and the green one is going up to the right side. And the color tone gets darker, the width of the wave gets wider. There's the same way on the flat panel. Design pattern in Excel and push information to 3D and change the types. So in this project, we are just designing in Excel, which is on the left top corner images. And then all those information just bring it into Ecosim. And then we change the panel types. For the beam exchange, we are using PDF. We use the iModel, IFC, and DWG step and sub files. And then structural proposal from us, and those are also coordinating with the structural engineers. And then just the design on the exterior facade that sometimes directly goes to the fabricator from us. So the production workflow details. We are using the driver file to locate all the detail location that we need to have on the 2D drawing. So the close-up of this one, as an example, we have a soffit and then curtain wall system interface details here. So we extract those drivers, which is low resolution, and no LOD. And then we are using those design surfaces to establish and then adding more information on the design details. And the production workflow with diagrams. The produced diagrams for presentation, books, or the PowerPoint. And then setting up a sheet for the specific use. For example, this one is using for PowerPoint presentation. And then setting up the family to get the ideal line, weights, type, and colors. Also setting up the levels for diagrams. Extracted lines are pushed to one of those levels here. And the most important setup is the plot configuration for us. It depends on the presentation media. Use a different type of plot configuration file in order to reduce the post-production times. 2D, 3D environments. We are using AIA standards for the naming for 2D files and also 3D files. So what we are always changing is the field 3, which is the dimensional designator. The first field is our join our company, Morphosis, and then second field is a project code, and the third field, and then we change for the Z file, which is the extraction or dynamic use file, and the small A file, which is a working file. And those are referenced into A file, which is the sheet file. For the 3D file names, we use the GEO as a geo, as a geometry. It's a final design file. And then we use the reference file as a reference model from MP4 structures. And those files are referenced into the master file to extract. So the benefit of using Ecosym Building Designer is we are often produce 3D print objects. So our boss, Tom Main, will do sketch on the 3D print so we can get a more clear communication with the boss. So we are producing so many models with the Ecosym Building Designer. And then also the final presentation model as well. And then MicroStation and Ecosym Building Designer are using 3D as a really creating a really clean 3D model. It's rationalized in the design as well. So it's really easy to make 3D print files. You can share easily and you can modify it. So on the CA base, we received shop drawings and we produce those higher LOD models and then check how it's working. We are not going to build the entire building, but we do on a certain position location that we need to check. Those are the models, and that's how it's made. This project as well, we have models with the different colors, ID, and this is how it's done. And this 3D information gets built. I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, this is Mark Enos from Bentley again. I just wanted to show some upcoming events that we have. So in August next week, I'm at the San Francisco AIA for a Lunch and Learn for BIM for Owners. So that's on Thursday the 9th from noon until 1, and that's one learning unit. And then I just put in a calendar that I could send to you all is our times and what classes we're offering with the live instructor-led BIM quick starts that go from 10 till noon, Tuesday through Thursday. So they qualify for 2 learning units per session. So we have architecture, structural, and architectural again. And then in September, we have some Ask the Instructor. That's more like you open mic. You just come in with your questions that instructors are there to ask questions of going through either the on-demand or the live classes. And then on September 8th at Berkeley, We're having a Bentley bash at UC Berkeley. So there's computers there, or you can bring your laptop. I can send you the link to register for that. I'll be there, so it'll be fun and get some hands-on training. And again, our classes throughout every other week that we have the live instructor-led classes. And then again, is to review the BIM program offering that we have. It is for new and existing Bentley users. So you can get 25% off of the $5,500 EcoSim price tag. So you're saving over $1,000. You even save more if you buy two and get one for free. Now, both of those require you to be paying our select maintenance. So the select maintenance covers 24/7, 365 technical support, free software upgrades. All the training is complimentary on Bentley products, and so is the live instructor-led ones that qualify for the continuing education. You also get the Lumen RT Designer Edition, which is the light version of Lumen RT that comes installed with EcoSim Building Designer, and you get all the connected services that you get for project collaboration, adaptive learning, and personal mobility with your own personal sensor to be pushing drawings and models up to the web for you to be able to download from anywhere. Good. And so for Bentley contacts, thank you, Greg Hall is handling the promotion, and he's at greg.hall@bentley.com. If you have any other questions about any other Bentley products, Andrea Elliott, she is here in California, Santa Rosa. So if you're an existing user and have any issues, she's Andrea.Elliott@bentley.com, or if you're interested in Lumen RT. And then if you have any technical questions or want to find out more about the training or any of the links I talked about, you can email me at mark.enos@bentley.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ms. Sushi, for being here today. So at this time, we'll take some questions from the audience. We know that a big part of your attending is just finding out some more information. And so at this time, if you needed to ask either Mark or Sushi a question, we will take those. Okay, perfect. So our first question here is for Sushi. And the attendee wants to know, typically, how long does it take new users to be productive and get to know the software?
It's for 2D, it's really easy to use it. It's like a couple of days, you can get it. However, on 3D, a little bit of time. So I would say, I think like 2-3 weeks every day using, then it should be fine.
Okay, perfect. That's great to know. Okay, any other questions? All right, we have one here for Mark.
Okay.
And the question is, do people usually use the software for the entire process?
Yes, actually, I didn't show that, but we can bring in raster sketches and work on top of it. So we do have people kind of doing a mixed media, and so you're able to work on top of it for laying out spaces, or if you're starting to do massing studies as well, you're able to bring that all in. Because there is something, and we do have some new capabilities in this version of raster line styles to make the drawings look sketchy, even though they are BIM objects.
Okay, perfect. And then one other one for Sushi.
Yes.
They want to know how you communicate with consultants and others who are using a different software or platform.
So we use IFC often, and sometimes if they require the other platform, we will convert to their ideal platform and then send our model as a reference. So it takes a little time to convert for us, but but mainly IFC is working for us really good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions?
A question about where you can get components for the models. There's just basically, if you go online, if you say that you're doing, most of our delivered libraries are somewhat commercial, but most of the manufacturers for doors and windows for residential, they have all their components up there. So you can either search the name of the manufacturer and then add BIM, and it will take you to a page to be able to download that information. So there's a lot of kind of neutral websites, BIM objects or SketchUp Warehouse or things like that that you can go up to download these objects.
Okay, perfect. All right, so it looks like that's all the questions we have. I just wanted to reiterate one more time that this discount is good until September 23rd. So please take time, reach out to Mark or any of his other team members by September 23rd here. Looks like we might have one more question. So they want to know, how much is Select?
Select is, I'm not a salesperson, so it's in my notes on the screen. It's a little over $1,200 a year, but you do want to remember that the licenses are perpetual. So what that means with the Select, you pay all that, but every year you have the option to do what we call a portfolio balance, that you could take the cost of that original license that we're offering and flip it to another one of the Bentley softwares.
Okay, perfect. All right, we still have a couple of questions coming in here, so I'll give you a moment. If you have any other questions, we'll definitely like to address those. Okay, well, like I said before, if you have any questions you think of after this webinar, feel free to email the email address is in front of you. This will also be posted to the AIACC website, the Bentley Systems website, and we'll be sending out email blasts with reminders. That way you can take every opportunity to get the information in front of you. So this will be recorded and available to view at a later time. You want to give it to a colleague for consideration as well. I would like to once again thank Mark and Asushi for attending and giving our members the information so that they can take advantage of this member benefit. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. We're looking forward to working with
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You too.